What's it like being a QA specialist for SLX?
It's actually great because I feel like I get to talk to everybody. I know my job is like, oh, you got to criticize everybody's work, but really you get to talk to people. Like I feel like I have the excuse of work to talk
Yeah.
to people.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your process and like your crazy checklists?
Well, I feel like my process has changed over time because when I first started, I think I depended more heavily on the checklist. And, I would just go through the checklist from point one to point two. But now, since I know what I'm looking for, I'll go through it in that manner first, and then I'll go to the checklist to make sure there's nothing I missed.
So as you've gone through it, it's become more like second nature. You've developed kind of like a efficient way of going through it.
Yeah, like these things should, like I know like what should be there, what shouldn't be there, if something looks weird.
Mhm.
So I feel like my process now is like I'll initially look at things, make sure they match, task description. And then after, I've gone through it like that, then I'll open up my checklist and I'll be like, okay, let's go through this one by one. But it's a lot faster though.
Sure, absolutely. What do you think working QA has taught you about like marketing in general?
Oh my goodness. I felt like it's taught me a lot about marketing because I feel like before I've always viewed marketing from a consumer standpoint, which is not much at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now, like, there's a lot of things I know, like, even just about the software, like Pardot and Salesforce that I would have never known before, or just things like, oh, if you put too much stuff on a page, people will stop caring. Like, if someone sees a form with over 5 fields in it, they're probably just not going to look at it anymore. And also, I've noticed now when I get marketing emails, like in my regular emails, I'm looking at the design of it, which I never did before.
Me too.
Yes,
Me
I just that's
too.
weird.
I'm coming at them from such a judgmental angle now.
Yes.
I'm just like, those are the choices you made. Interesting.
Exactly. It's like, why would you like bold your unsubscribe? Like, do you want them to unsubscribe? Why are you doing this?
Right? Don't
Yeah.
do that. Weird. You'd think you wouldn't have to say it, but there you go.
Yeah, and I would have never thought of it before. Like, literally never would have crossed my mind.
Yep. Now you kind of just like see the matrix code and you're like, oh, okay. Yep. I see what's going on behind the scenes. Like, I know how you're trying to like capture my information.
Exactly.
Like, what are some of like the top mistakes that you think people are making maybe in other industries, like that are like giving us copy or giving us like images? Like, what are like mistakes that they're making that they should be aware of?
I feel like a lot of it is I don't want to say giving too much information, but giving too much information, like overcrowding the page or the email. Just simplicity. Give us some simplicity. Like, don't give people too much.
Mm-hmm.
We're all complex creatures, but when we're intaking information, if you bombard them too much, then they don't know where to look, and they just, okay, next thing.
Yeah.
I see that right off the back with a lot of clients. Like, they will give too much information, or like, I believe there's a thing about white space. They won't, like, it's like, come on guys, give us some white space.
Mm-hmm. You're crowding everything. Like,
exactly.
Calm down. You are presenting something that's overwhelming. Like,
exactly, it's overwhelming. I feel like that's the number one for me. That's what I see is the number one mistake.
And is that's like stuff that you will push back on?
Oh yeah, and a lot of times too, like the design leads, they will also call that out, and then sometimes we just have to like be like, this is what we suggest. And the client will be like, well, I don't know about that. And it's like, okay, well, we'll give them 2 options. Like,
yeah.
Here's what you want. Here's what we think will look better. You decide.
Which do you think looks better? And then it's like, it's common sense usually will take over from there.
Yeah.
Last question. What's your favorite thing just about being part of the SLX team?
When people work here, it doesn't feel like any place you've worked at before. And you feel seen, you feel heard. And everyone is generally very nice. Not saying that, I worked at places where everyone was mean, but there's always a handful of coworkers or 1 or 2 or that one person that's kind of like, oh, I am definitely tolerating this person. But I don't feel that way about anyone at SLX. And I think that really comes from how open and honest and like everyone's very open to constructive criticism, and everyone has like this general underlying feeling of we're here to help each other. Mm-hmm. So you don't feel bad about calling anything out because it's not like a judgment. It's more like oh, let me help you out here. That's why I think it works so well. That's why I think everyone seems just like generally nice, because we actually care to help each other, and we're here as a team and not as like, going through the daily grind, tolerating each other, putting up with the day. Like it's a very nice place to work.
Nice. I said that was the last question. I'm going to ask you one more because you're giving me killer answers. If you could give one suggestion to like every other org out there in the world on how they should like update their practices or change their behavior, what's your one bit of information?
Invest in the people you work with, because it goes a long way for just generally like enjoying their work environment. People are willing to do more the happy they are,
Amen.